Friends, if you're looking for real old school laughs, you're in for a treat because we've got them right here. Flip City Magazine. Remember Mad Magazine? Then it went woke? Well, don't worry. Flip City has no chance of going woke. That's right. 4 times a year, you'll get an actual printed magazine full of jokes, stories, comics, and more, all about today's pop culture, entertainment, and woke politics. Flip City takes terrible entertainment trends we love to hate with hilarious parodies of Lord of the Rings, Stranger Things, The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Hunters, and more. Trust me when I say there is nothing else like Flip City on the market. So subscribe today. It will be delivered in print, or you can even get it digitally if you're one of those wacky Zoomers. Either way, follow our link and sign up today, and if you put in midnight, you get an extra 10% off. Check out Flip City Magazine today.
We're gonna get a little bit crazy, wild and maybe even vulgar if you please. It's after dark and we're gonna light it up. Some fun in store for you, no tease. It's time for Midnight Sesh. Talk a little naughty. We'll hopefully make you chuckle, but we ain't trying to hurt nobody. So get ready quick on the double, cause it's time for Midnight Sesh After Dark.
We have more news on He-Man, a Cobra Kai Season 6 trailer, and more. Welcome to the show, kids. Yes. It's Thursday night. It's the 2nd of May. It means we're officially in that era and time where school's getting ready to get out. Getting that spring fever. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, welcome to the program. I'm Tom Connors. We got Price of Reason with us tonight. How you doing?
I'm good. How's it going, man?
Glad to have you here. We also have Brian, aka 70s Rock Fan. Been a bit, but glad to have you here.
Well, good evening, sir. I'd be getting spring fever if it didn't snow yesterday here in the prairies. So
that's your fault for living in Canada.
Canada, yeah, somewhere north of the Arctic Circle.
That's what you get. We also have Clobbering Times with us. How you doing?
Hey, man. How's it going? Hello there, panel and chat. Good to see you all.
Speaking of the chat, I seen CC hanging out in the chat. Hopefully you're recovering. I see we also have D-Bud swinging a wrench around in the chat, so watch out. He does not look out for heads when he swings. But how you doing, Clobby?
All right, man. How you doing today?
Doing the best I can.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying some cheese curds right now.
Ooh,
Good.
I love cheese curds.
Oh, those are...
Especially when you and I had in Wisconsin, Tom. Oh, dude.
In other words, just cheese curds for me.
Throw them on fries with some gravy, and you got poutine right there.
Oh,
I've never had poutine. Why would you want to ruin cheese curds like that? But anyway, we also have Script Doctor with us.
What type of Irish person are you who doesn't like potatoes?
Why would I mix it? Stupid.
It's delicious.
I'll try it one of these days.
I just like it. I'll
just like
think it's silly.
Is it just 3 cheese fries, basically?
No, it's also got gravy on it.
Oh, that sounds good to me.
Yeah,
So
it's good. It'll triple your waistline in like 3 servings.
Pretty much.
Where I come from, fries are a side dish for potatoes.
Yes, they are.
Diddly potatoes.
You got a baked potato with a side of mashed potatoes and French fries.
That's right. Yeah.
Do you call them chips?
Chips. Yes, the chips. You have a chip butty. You put chips on in a sandwich, and it's great.
You guys are weird.
And then chips, you call them crisps, right?
We do. So you can put crisps on a sandwich as well.
Do you
You guys are really weird. Them? You call cookies biscuits and shit.
Biscuits. Yeah. Well, we started it. It's our damn language. We started it.
Bunch of queerdos, I tell you what.
Queerdo, that sounds quite tasty.
I like that. Queerdo.
It sounds like a restaurant. Queerdos.
Queerdos.
When you're hungry.
The only restaurant to feature Lost Classics as the soundtrack in the restaurant.
That's
you
right.
hungry?
Yeah. So speaking of, I dropped a new channel. Thank you for reminding me, Brian. We'll talk about that in just a moment. I just want to say hello to Script. I don't know if I actually did properly. So hello, Script.
Hello, everybody. We got some good topics tonight to discuss.
And Nick's coming in here with I don't know who has the more badass shirt tonight.
Oh, dude. I mean, mine has
You got a Cobra shirt. I think you win
Mine
because
is
the
Stallone
rarity
by
of that.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
Dude, but yours is awesome though. It says sword and it's
Sword
Arnold.
is what this is. It's
Oh.
telling you it's a
I was
sword.
actually just watching your Conan the Destroyer retrospective earlier today. And dude, yeah, that was I learned a lot from that. I was just like, holy macaroni. So I felt educated, Tom. You and Andre got me informed. And I saw you guys also thank Roy Thomas for it too, which is cool.
Awesome.
By the way, Nick, did you ever go back and listen to me imitating you plugging your show?
No, I still need. I actually forgot all about. I was meaning to, right before Toxic Tuesday, but we had stuff come up and I forgot about. But now I'm going to because I had people tell me that it was good.
I don't even know. It was kind of an afterthought, but I made Tom laugh, so I figure at least it wasn't terrible, I guess.
I heard it was good. So.
Off guard.
I can't wait to hear it because I also was like, I wonder if he's got any of my like weird mannerisms down with it. So if I say anything along the lines of "you dick," that means you did a good job. So get just a heads up. If I say anything along those lines, that means you did good.
I hope so. I thought maybe I could cover for you because
no, thank you for doing that. Yeah, no, I had dad stuff to attend to, so appreciate that. So we actually have some good news to talk about today. Isn't that nice when we can say that? Good news?
Well, some good
news.
Yeah. Hey, I'm taking this as a win, so I'll literally drink to that.
As we have a moment of silence for you to drink to that.
Tea.
That was granting
psychedelic drink.
Only this is tea.
Psychedelic drink of choice by the Ruttles.
Tea.
All right, I'm dropping the link for the new Lost Classics channel. There you go.
Ooh.
Check that out. Sign up for it.
Wow. Great. I
gotta
already
check
subbed.
that out. I'm subbing right now.
I think I was like the first sub.
Ooh. Well, I'm subscriber 46 now. So
it's where you can hear all my wonderful classics.
Yes.
Rash is my favorite.
I have subbed. Yes.
You're enjoying Rash?
Rash is the best one because
I
am
like
in love
5
with the
Rash songs. Yeah. That is true. She does have a secret.
Yes.
She can't ignore, or he can't ignore, however the words go. But yeah, you'll hear all my favorites over there and check them out.
It would be funny if you got copyright claimed on those.
On my own. Yeah. Well, I already. The video is the only thing it comes up with, not the actual audio. But
yeah,
you'll hear such classics as "I'm to Blame."
Why does your poop sheet taste so funny? It smells like shit and tastes twice as bad. I sure wish I'd had a lot more money, cause this is the best I can afford. It's sad.
Yeah. So check them out. And actually, this will be one of the next ones.
Please don't get pineapple on your pizza.
Oh.
It's a scientific fact that pineapple goes bad the moment you put it on pizza. And so does the pizza, baby. So please don't do that to me. Please don't do that to me.
So check out that channel. Get some subs over there. Let me get it.
That one's truth in advertising.
That is truth in advertising. I need to get it monetized and all that business. So check it out. Like meat is being suppressed, so songs aren't getting out there. When a dude putting up an AI song about shitting his pants, I don't understand.
You think
my stuff can't get at least a third? Come on.
I know, especially since like degeneracy is like so promoted. Like, how did you of all people get degeneracy like demoted? I don't understand it.
I don't know. And I'm pretty
don't
good
know.
at this, I think. I mean, I think I'm pretty clever, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. So
No,
clever.
I actually think that this is a good thing for you. These songs are exactly up your alley.
This
Yeah.
it's a good outlet for you, Tom. It's a great outlet,
It's
actually.
better than all the drugs.
Oh, of course.
You can mix and match.
Yes,
Like all
indeed.
So
music-
I've been told. So I've been
Like
told.
all music, it's best to listen to lost classics under the influence of something.
This is probably true.
Yeah.
Like, yes. But with that, I want to say hello to everybody out there in the chat. I see we got so many regulars. I see many dragons. Snow Dubs in the house. Got a puppet.
Hey, Snow.
We got Duck Nation here, Hound Monkeys here, Bill S. Preston Esquires here. I don't know about Ted though. 16-bit mascot, how you guys doing? Alabama Wyatt's in the house. So many regulars. Hamdinger's here. Aaron Ratliff. Scott Hughes is here as well. Neil's swinging around a wrench. Fletcher Williams is here. One of our Midnight's Edge Espanol hosts. We also have in the chat, let's see here, Old Man Cometh. Does he make a lot of noise when he does?
How come nobody
likes
ever
Raj.
invites me to Midnight's Edge Espanol?
You can.
know,
Just
Por
let you
favor.
guys know you can speak.
Just say por
They will
favor.
invite you over.
The truth is, I speak.
I
very
can't even
little.
speak it, and they don't even bother to ask me.
I mean, I don't speak very well, but I once said something, and Mexican Iron Man was very impressed. So
Is
I don't know
Diego
if that's
still on there?
enough, but
I haven't listened in a while. Is
I
Diego
haven't
still
seen him
around?
around. I have no idea, honestly.
do they only speak in Spanish for real? Do they just
I
sit
know
and speak?
Pablo is. No, they do both. Especially when I'm there, they have to do both because I'm a Luddite or whatever.
You guys trying to
So,
have
like-
the same conversation in different languages.
We do, yeah. It's like I'll be sitting there and I'll say a bunch of shit. It'll be like this 10-minute spiel, and then I'll go, okay, one of y'all translate. And then just go, I'm like, you just said everything I just said. Yep. And then I'm like, well, I
Oh.
didn't care for it all that much. And all of a sudden it's like, Tom says, it's like, Jesus, I just said I didn't care for it. Man. No, I love that. I love that, especially with subtitles. You ever notice that? It's like they say one little like, ugh, and it comes with this whole fucking sentence. It's like,
Just
They
a
go,
gesture.
"Uchuta,"
It's 2
and it's
sentences.
yeah. And he didn't say one thing like Uchucha, and it's like, yeah, it's like a whole bunch of shit. And then this is like otherwise. Yeah, anyway, we got Mikey in the house. I see him in the chat. How you
Mikey.
doing, Mikey? It's my boy.
Oh,
Hey, Mikey.
Share out the link. Let everybody know we are live. So people come on over and check us out. Check us out. Yeah, so we have some news to talk about. Where do we start today? Should we start with the bad news or the good news?
start with the bad
Bad.
news. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let
At first, and on good.
yes. There you
Okay,
go.
well, we got an update on He-Man.
He-Man,
Travis
He-Man.
Knight is moving forward. In fact, we have a release date. Now, if I can bring this up, let's see here. So that's how prepared I am, kids. Yeah. All right. So Travis Knight, live action Masters of the Universe, gets a release date, June 2026. And yeah, so here's the look at all these ads. Love it. Let's get rid of those. Let's just do that. There we go. Okay, so there we go. And we also have a synopsis. Funnily enough, this is the same synopsis we've had for the last 30 years. Because for those who don't know, this movie has been in turnaround and in development hell longer than The Flash was shooting.
Yeah.
Because like pretty much like ever since Skeletor promised he'd be back at the end of the 87 film, they've been planning another He-Man movie. Like it's not like it's never been in development, and it's been in development hell for the last 10 years or so, especially. And here we go. So the synopsis is 10-year-old Prince Adam, who crashed to Earth in a spaceship and was separated from his magical power sword, the only link to his home on Eternia. After tracking it down, almost 2 decades later, Prince Adam is whisked back to space. We saw this movie. It was called fucking Thor.
Oh my goodness.
Superman also kind of had the boy
Yeah.
on the spaceship thing.
But to defeat, yeah, I think
Superman
anyway,
won?
But defeat such a powerful villain, Prince Adam will first need to uncover the mysteries of his past and become He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe.
So basically, they're turning him into Thor.
But if he already
Wow.
had his power sword when he crashed on Earth, wouldn't he already know the basics of that?
Nope. He was a baby.
It's Thor, but because
He said he was
he's
10.
10 years
10 is
old,
not a
it's
baby.
Just a baby.
it's a hybrid between Superman 1 and Thor because he landed as a kid from his home planet. He
Right.
landed on a spaceship on Earth, so
Yeah.
Well,
It's probably
Thor
gonna be-
knows what he is, but Thor has to regain his power and find Mjolnir, right, or whatever. So it's kind of the same thing, and he's a fish out of water to a point. So instead of being a fish out of water in Earth, like Barbie was, it's going to be a fish out of water on Eternia.
Mhm.
I see.
It's
not
reverse
unusual-
Barbie.
It's not unusual for Hollywood to make a movie about a 10-year-old boy, though. I mean,
Oh.
Who's directing this thing? Zack Snyder? Oh no, that's right. It's
Oh.
So here's the problem here.
Brian
With
Singer.
Travis,
Just kidding.
with Travis, yeah, no. With Travis Knight is he actually has done some good stuff. But it sounds like he's getting saddled with this script by Chris Butler.
Wow, it sounds terrible.
This is the same take they've been trying to go with for a while. Otherwise, one of the last takes also sounded a lot like Flash Gordon.
Oh, really?
But I mean, this thing has been in turnaround so many times. I think it's been in no less than 3 studios in the last 10 years, too. So I think it started at Universal and then went to Sony and then went to Netflix and now it's at Amazon.
I also think Travis Knight is still relatively too green of a director for this type
You're
of
probably right. I mean, Bumblebee might have been a fluke. I didn't think it was as great as everybody said it was. I thought it was all right.
It was
but-
solid, but the thing is, it was also basic. It didn't. I mean, there's nothing in there that made a directorial mark. Like that, you could say, yes, that's a guy that's got potential. He's more like a television director.
And we don't need a He-Man origin story. It's in the opening credits.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it literally takes them 30 seconds to tell us who He-Man is.
it's like having a Mad Max prequel.
Maybe they're trying to save money.
Oh, yeah.
The sorceress gave him the sword and says, "You are going to be He-Man. You're going to stop Skeletor from doing his."
I was just
stuff."
going to recite the whole intro, but yeah.
Maybe they're trying to save money by putting him on Earth, kind of like Doctor Who back in the 70s.
That's what they did in the 87 movie, and it's redonkulous.
Yeah, they don't have to actually put. Well, listen, just go to the salt lands or the flatlands and shoot there for eternity.
Which is what they did last time, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all you need to do. That works enough. Spend all the rest of the money on costumes, and you've got the digital volume, which you can use for good wide shots because you don't want to integrate with it. You're fine.
As long as you got Castle Grayskull and Snake Mountain, you don't really need to worry about much else.
And those could be bigature models. Like that's it.
Yeah.
You don't need to
I mean, Eternia, yeah, it just looks like a fancy city.
put him onto a quest where you have to go through a forest like a fan film, and you'll be fine.
Just steal shots from ILM from Phantom Menace. That's Eternia. There you go, Coruscant.
There you go. Star Trek did that for Star Trek Enterprise. Vulcan was Coruscant.
Was it really?
Yep.
I'm not surprised in the least. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not too keen on this idea. For those who know, I'm a huge He-Man fan. And it's no secret. I've said it a million times. Just take the 2000 series lore and make that into a movie. Hell, make it into a trilogy.
I'm glad you mentioned that show. Me and Vince Womack on Gilded have been watching that. It's my first time
Kick
ever
ass,
watching
ain't
it. Dude, it's so good. We're 5 episodes in. I don't know if Vince is out
The
there
only
in the
problem
chat.
with it is that it's over
really
designed.
good.
That's the only
I
issue.
like the
with it.
design. I have no
It's
issue
just a
with it.
little
I think-
over designed to me.
I
a little
think
too
Narnia
busy.
looks great. And I also love how basic
Eternia, you
and-
mean?
Yeah,
I think
Eternia.
the
Yeah,
Summer
that's what I
Sculpting
meant
is
to
a
say.
bit much.
I
They
love
do a lot
how
of summer
straightforward
sculpting.
the names are. Battle Cat. I was just like, wow, yeah, it's a cat who does battle. It's like all the names are so
Well,
self-explanatory.
yeah, that was kind of the joke from the beginning, is that it is so.
Yeah, many
And
faces
like,
has
simple.
many faces.
Each episode has like a nice, like I guess you could say like a positive universal truth at the end too, which is great. Yeah, it's really good. I'm 5 episodes in, and we've been watching every Thursday morning on Gilded. It's really good. I highly recommend it just off the first 5.
Well, and it doesn't make any sense because He-Man is one of those characters you don't need a huge origin story, or even if you do, there is already a much more interesting origin story or background story for him than what they're doing here. I mean, yeah, they could still adopt some of those things, but why is he on Earth? In fact, that's one of the things that I always felt was stupid and didn't make sense, and they never needed it to be part of the mythos, is having his mom be from Earth to begin with.
I
That
just
was to
don't.
me always
Got lost in
stupid.
space like Buck Rogers. Yeah.
It was just
I'm
always
just-
stupid.
I'm of the mindset of why is it that always every single thing under the sun needs to have a backstory? Like I'm not, and I say this as someone who's grown up,
Yeah,
with a lot of
agreed.
superhero comics in his life, who obviously where that's a thing, but not every character in those stories had one, and it seems like it's become this like big trend nowadays where every character, even like supporting characters who have small parts who are relevant for like an episode or two, have it. And I'm it's starting to drive me crazy. And then there's characters once again like the Joker who don't need it. And why can't we just have some characters have a little mystery to them? I mean,
Well, and it's not even so much the mystery. You just don't need to start it when he's so young. Like Adam,
No,
you start him
no.
at the same age as Luke Skywalker.
Sure.
He comes in, he's a bit aloof. He's a prince. He doesn't have very much responsibility, but it's being beaten into his head that he should start worrying about these responsibilities because they're going to be his responsibilities someday. Gets himself into some trouble, has to be saved by the sorceress, gets the power sword, learns of his lineage. There you go. That's all it is. And then there's a whole nother backstory on top of that where you find out about his dad's history and all that kind of stuff. And the fact that him and his dad and Skeletor are half brothers and all that
And
kind
then
of
he finds out he
business.
has a twin sister.
And then he finds out he has a twin sister who was kidnapped when she was very, very young. So, I mean, there's a lot that goes on in the background. And I've said, if you do this right, you could do a trilogy, a prequel series, and a spin-off She-Ra series all in one, or set of She-Ra movies, if you did it right. But all you got to do is follow that template that's there in the 2000s. Because you can do that story, and then you can even do a prequel series called like Eternia or something like that. That's about a young, Randor and him and Keldor and their whole relationship. Like you don't even need to explore it all that much in the movie. You can save that for a whole series and have Hordak and all that stuff be the bad guy in that series. And that's setting up She-Ra. Like there's a whole bunch of mythos to draw from here. It's not like it's Pac-Man or something where you got to make a lot of shit up for it or something. I don't know. It just feels dumb to me.
I'm with Nick. We don't always need origin stories all the time. It's just
and it's just part of the lineage is that that there always is a hero for Eternia, right? And it was his grandfather before him, and so on and so forth. So like it's it's kind of this lineage thing that kind of skips a generation every time, kind of thing. And Randor's a good king, but Adam is the champion of Eternia. It's kind of a because Skeletor is trying to take over all the power and stuff now, as opposed to the time of peace that they had for a while. There is kind of how it's set up. But anyway, that being said, I'm curious what you guys out there in the chat think. Leave us some comments after the show. Let me know what you guys think about this. If you're looking forward to it, if you're not looking forward to it. I don't know if the super chats are not working or what, but we haven't had a single member chat or super chat the entire show.
Well,
that or StreamYards is not collecting them again, and I'm not seeing any. So, all right. So I was gonna say we'll see what you guys have said already, but Sydney Sweeney is Evil Lynn. She'd actually probably play a better sorceress than she would Evil Lynn.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a way to make it work somehow.
I'm sure you can make. I mean, I would need more before they're gonna convince me to be excited for a movie. Because granted, I'm only my knowledge of He-Man starts and stops at the 5 episodes of the year 2000 show. But once again, we don't need to have every single character having this a backstory, because it just feels like it's another excuse just to keep these things going now, let things be. I mean, once upon a time, a story could have a beginning, a middle, and an end. Nowadays, we just keep things going and going and going and going and going.
Because there's money there. That's why.
Yeah, the funny part is some of these things are making not as much money because they choose, and they still keep on going. I mean, look no further than the G.I. Joe movies and the last few Transformers. They're finally starting to get to a point where they're not as bankable as they used to be. And what do? They're thinking, oh, we'll just put them together. It's not going to make money.
Actually, I changed my mind. Julia Sweeney should be She-Ra.
Sydney Sweeney should be
Yeah,
did I say Julia? Jeez, that's a totally different Sweeney. Yeah,
I could see her as She-Ra. She definitely. I think she has the right
blonde
build, the right build for it.
I still want the Joel Silver produced version.
Isn't she originally a redhead though, or is she a blonde? I'm
Sydney
trying to remember. She
Sweeney?
had darker hair when she was younger.
She's
Yeah,
a brunette, actually.
brunette. Okay.
Yeah.
How can we be sure?
We need to find out. I think for
we
science.
can try different colors. It'll be okay.
We need proof,
Yeah.
conclusive proof.
Well, most women don't leave evidence behind of that anymore these days.
No, the one I think that would might be good for Eva Lynn is the chick that was in the last Mission Impossible, Vanessa Kirby.
Yeah.
She might make it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She'd
she
make
may
a
be
good
okay.
Eva Lynn.
The
'Cause
question
she's got
is
the
who'd
right
be
face
good
for it.
Tequila?
That's a tough one. You gotta. I'd almost try to do like a search for an unknown or a lesser known actress. Definitely got to be redhead, young, close to age to whoever's playing Adam. Then the other big question is, who do you get to play Man at Arms? I mean,
Well, it's Hollywood. It'd be somebody without arms.
They'll probably
you
put
got to have
Pedro.
somebody.
You know who'd be
They'll
good at
probably
Man
put
at
Pedro
Arms?
Pascal as Men at
No,
Arms.
Shut up with Pedro Pascal. Everybody hates that guy.
Oh,
You know
Oh,
who'd be
no.
good that we haven't seen in a
Passhole.
while?
No passhole.
Aaron Eckhart.
You keep saying that name. I don't think it
Aaron
means what you
Eckhart
think
might
it
not be
means.
bad. You know what's sad is he's too old, but Sam Elliott would be my
Sam Elliott, yeah.
Sam Elliott
oh
would have
my
been perfect.
God. Yes. He's too
But
old
if you
now.
want a guy
But
that could probably do a really good mentor, I think Aaron Eckhart could do it.
yeah, you need somebody
Old
who's
enough
in
to be
that.
to be a father of a 25 to 30-year-old believably. He's still in really good shape. And he's also cheap but still working.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Josh
he'd probably look pretty good
Brolin.
with a big mustache.
He's got the face. You gotta have somebody who's got a broad face, yeah.
Josh
Yeah.
Brolin, maybe.
I would accept Josh.
Yeah.
If you can't get somebody else, yeah. Oh,
If
John
you can't get anybody else, let's call Josh Brolin.
John
Yep.
Goodman 20 years ago would have been perfect as Ram Man.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Ram Man. What a name.
Ram Man, yeah. He rammed you.
That's
Yeah,
the
it's
problem
things
is
A man who rams you.
everybody's too old now. Like, yeah.
A man who rams you. Wow.
I just had visions of Aaron Eckhart watching this stream and then being totally depressed by script saying he's cheap.
He's too what?
He's cheap.
I ain't
He is.
cheap,
Oh my
motherfucker.
15 years ago, he was
I
like
was in
making
Dark
5 to 10
Knight.
million. Now he's like 2.25. You know,
Yeah. Poor
that's
Aaron.
cheap these days. But the thing is, he works a lot, so he's fine.
Oh, yeah.
I just hope they pick the
I'm like-
right person for Skeletor more. So, I mean, I don't care if they get a body actor, but it's got to be like somebody like Steve Buscemi or Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe could do it.
Willem Dafoe's pretty
yeah.
old though, too. He's in
But
seven.
Yeah.
that's where I
Wa-
said you can do it more so
Walton
like
Goggins. Walton Goggins.
Walton would be great too.
That's
Yep.
my choice.
The thing is, Alan Oppenheimer's still alive. He could do the voice still.
Mhm.
True. But you got to just have somebody with some gravitas, and it doesn't matter if Defoe's too old. I mean,
Yeah, I
it's either caked
Defoe's
under
still
makeup or
doing well.
CGI anyway. So
He's still doing well for his age on top of it. So
he can act in a blue mask, and they could just cover it up with
Mhm.
this, like a
Well, they wouldn't do that. They'd just have a stunt performer doing everything, probably with mime
Probably.
background, and then they just overlay either a face of him or you just do what Hugo Weaving did for V for Vendetta voiceover.
yeah.
In which case, if you're doing voiceover, might as well just go with Alan Oppenheimer.
Well, he sounds a little old.
Well,
I've
the
heard
thing
him
is, they
do it
can
recently.
They can tweak him in post production to do it because whenever he does it on his own, like when he's done his cameos and all that stuff, you can tell the voice is still there, but it doesn't have that extra echoey effect that they used in the classic cartoon. Pro Tools can actually replicate that.
Well,
again
and I don't have
perfectly.
a problem with them working with the voice a little bit because I mean, yes, Oppenheimer's voice works great for the Filmation series, but if you're trying to do a more serious Skeletor, you need that's where I wasn't against Mark Hamill doing the voice, but when you hear it, he's just doing Joker, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
you
I
come
know.
with something else.
Well, the other
Andy
part too
Serkis
is
would be an all right Skeletor, probably.
He-Man doesn't lend itself to be serious, though. There's a certain threshold you can reach
Mm.
before you start getting into it where it's like it's so serious, it's almost not fun anymore.
That's where the 2000 series got that tone just right. Like again, my biggest gripe is that they're just the suits and the designs of things are a little too busy, but other than that, I feel like it handled everything with just enough verisimilitude. And I mean, yeah, it has a little bit of levity here and there with Orko, but even the Orko stuff isn't nearly as goofy as the old stuff is. Like you can do it in a way that works. And that's what I'm afraid of is they're going to take it to a Flash Gordon level and that's not what this is.
You think they're going Flash Gordon? I think they'd be going in the opposite way. I think they're going to go for like the Dark Knight.
I mean, I hope they don't go
totally will.
Snyder
Because
dark.
it's a
It's got to
dumb
be kind of
area
in the
of
middle.
Hollywood. It's a dumb area of Hollywood. The other part too, you also have to remember is, and this is, I don't blame costume designers for this. I actually blame the studios and the producers for actually encouraging it, but they will overcomplicate to hell the costumes for this movie if they go and bring in any of those characters.
That's the problem.
Why? Because they're like, go at it, go nuts, and they're not completely thinking about the fact that the more detailed you get, the harder and more expensive it is to reproduce in your action figure line.
Well, not just that. And I mean, I get it. You can't do the simple stuff really easily live action on screen. We've seen it done. It doesn't really work that well, but you can find a happy medium. I mean, even honestly, the 87 movie didn't do that horrible a job. The worst looking person in the whole movie is He-Man. Because he's got the worst costume of them all. It's literally just a leather strap.
It's a set of strongman shorts. I mean, Evelyn's costume is kind of plain.
It looks
But
it's
Dolph
alright.
Lundgren-
Sorry, Tila's costume. There's just a
Tila's is
basically
probably
gray-
the second worst, yes. But Man at Arms
gray
isn't so
jumpsuit.
bad. Evil Lynn's is good. Skeletor is amazing. Like what they did for Skeletor with Franklin Jella, they never got enough credit for it. And I know that's one of his favorite roles he ever played.
That's with Dolph Lundgren. He was good in it.
Yeah. Oh, Dolph was fine. The casting was spot on. The problem was you have this stupid story that takes place in Dumpwater nowhere.
Of course.
Who gives a shit about Courtney Cox and her fucking boyfriend?
Yeah.
This movie's about He-Man, not them.
Actually, you know what's funny? Robert Duncan McNeil is a far better director. He could probably do He-Man better than Travis.
Because actually, the cast was brilliant. I mean, you got I can't remember the guy who played Man at Arms, but he was perfect. And then you had oh God, I just forgot everybody's name in the movie now.
Dolph Lundgren. You had Scott Bakula.
I remember the guy, but I can't say his name.
You had Prince.
That's what I was trying to think of Tila's name. She was one of the
Chelsea Fields. Chelsea Fields.
Right.
Yeah.
Meg Foster was good.
Meg Foster. That's what I was trying to think of.
Love her.
Yeah.
Love her.
That was a good cast. I like it.
Cast.
I like that movie.
Cast.
I mean, as a He-Man movie, it sucks. But as a sword and sorcery fantasy film, it's one of the better ones.
It's one of the better sword and sorcery movies where they take over a shopping mall in California. Because that's what we need is to attack that shopping mall.
Yeah, I mean, the story is okay. It's just, they just spend way too much time on Earth and no time on Eternia. Yeah.
But the Skeletor's, the sets there were brilliant, and Skeletor, having a serious actor playing that role is what you need. You don't have to have a deadly serious movie, but have some serious acting talent playing the parts.
Well, that's what I mean. Like Franklin Jella rocked that.
Then you can have the humor overlaid on that. You don't if you've got proper actors.
Yeah.
Like I'd like to see Denzel Washington as Man at Arms.
If you're gonna race swap it,
yes, because they would do that. They're bound
him or Morgan Freeman wouldn't be bad.
At least have Denzel doing it then.
But Morgan's way too old now, and so Denzel's not that young either.
He's not young either, but he could still do it, I think.
And then we got Brian's been here for 3 years. Sorry, 36 months. As a member, thank you for that. Holy crap!
Yeah. All right.
So it does appear things are working. Thank you, Nick, who says X gonna give it to you. Yeah. Then Larry sends in a buck. Thank you for the tip, Larry. Good seeing you. Warachi is here and sends in 5 and says, still not really interested in the current crop of remakes. Well, I don't blame you, especially like that Crow one. My God.
No.
Did they push that back for what? I do not know. Are they going to do some reshoots or something, or what's going on there? Did you guys hear about that?
I know they pushed it back. Don't know the reason why.
Yeah, it's pointless. It's been done forever. That's why I don't understand why they're pushing it back. But anyway, D-Bud Martin sends in a member chat for 34 months, almost 3 years.
Wow.
Don't just talk about He-Man movie, Tom. I want a rant, a Mexican Iron Man-like rant. One to make them quake their boots for Cringer. Honestly, D-Bud, I'd be more upset if I actually thought this movie had a half a chance of coming to fruition. Like, I'm not going to believe this thing is happening until I actually see a picture or footage of them shooting.
It's been haven't they been trying to do this for 20 years?
That was the joke I made in the beginning.
Yeah.
I said I wasn't even really kidding when I said it's been well over 30 years they've been trying to make another one of these movies.
That's why I want the Joel Silver version. That was one of the first ones.
Andre has a bunch of scripts, actually.
There was a terrible script out there for a while.
There, actually.
Probably.
This thing has had a bunch of scripts.
I think we need the cocaine Hollywood to make this one properly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that hard. Manny Lamont sent in $10 and says, creepiest episode of Filmation series was House of Shakoti, part 1 and 2. Trying to remember those. I don't remember them doing much part 1 and 2 episodes back then. They were all pretty self-contained. I'll have to look. I don't remember that one for some reason. I might when I actually see it, though. Infinite Wanderer sends in $10 and says, script question. How would you write a Paul Bunyan movie? Kaiju hunter or an adopted kid exploring his real-life family history? And yes, I circled back around this after getting WCBS into it months ago.
How to do a Paul Bunyan movie? I would probably start by just grabbing some old books about the character and then see where that directs me. I wouldn't just try to approach it cold. I'd see what is the best story that's part of his history that could be entertaining, and also have some fun to explore those aspects in his life. You never just come at an IP and be like, I just want to do this, and then slap the IP's name on it. Like that's terrible and disingenuous. You're not gonna have fun that way.
Yeah,
interesting. I think you should make him just a very, very large John Wick.
Kind of, yeah. Don't mess with him. He's got a big axe.
He's got a big axe, and he's out for revenge.
Yeah. I'll remove your bunions for you. That's how I got my name.
And, well, the bunion in the entirety of the foot as well. So,
what's the fairy tale?
We're not pussyfooting around here.
What's the fairy tale with Jack and the Beanstalk? So it'd be Paul Bunyan versus Jack. That should be the
Jack
movie.
and the Beanstalk.
Lend me a hand.
Paul Bunyan is searching for magic beans so he can regrow a new beanstalk to get back to his hometown, but Jack keeps stopping him.
Something like that, yes.
Oh Lord.
Script.
All right.
Script. You can have that written by the end of the day.
Yeah, I'm sure he could.
I really don't.
After he's done writing all the stuff I told him to. Cobra Kai season 6 is going to be split into 3 parts. Okay, so we got a trailer today.
Yes, we did.
And we got this news.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting because we're actually getting 15 episodes, so it's an elongated season.
Yep,
5 more than the previous season. So
5 more than normal.
Yeah, they're always 10. So this is the exception.
And it will begin July 18th, November 28th, and then I don't know about the. Yeah, they don't have a 2025 date yet. So now the reason this is probably is mostly A, because of the strikes, and B, because this is the final season.
Yeah.
So hopefully everybody caught the trailer. It was a real tease. I'll say that much. Clavi, did you check it out?
I did not see the trailer.
Yeah, there's a short trailer.
Oh yeah, I did see that yesterday. Did you see that earlier today? I am very excited about this. Specifically.
All right.
Yeah.
Man, a few words.
It looked pretty good.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this stuff. I love the show, and I guess I had to try to get Netflix again.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
I just wait till July 18th and make sure that I get it for this and only this.
I actually have another source. So.
Well, there you go.
He's a very clever gentleman.
He's a clever one. Clubby's friend.
And yours too. Nick.
Well, now you're implicating Nick.
Yes. I implicate Nick. But yes, this is going to be pretty cool. It looks like it. Well, I mean, this is it, right? This is the finale. So,
unless they announce a prequel or a spinoff, this is the proper ending of this show.
We have prequels. They're called the first three movies.
I know. Right? Well, but here's what happened in between the Karate Kid movies and Cobra Kai. Like even if the actors themselves are genuinely done.
Well, we already know what they're up to next. We know we're getting a Karate Kid movie.
Yeah,
with Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Which is funny, which makes me wonder if that's why they didn't push that movie off. Remember, that was supposed to be out at the end of this year. Now I got moved off to 2025.
So maybe there is something that's going to happen at the very end of this series that'll lead into that movie. Could that be?
I wonder. Because before the makers of Cobra Kai were like, we have no idea what the hell that's all about. And then more recently they had kind of said something about it. So I think you're right.
They don't have to really be involved in the Jackie Chan one. Just as a courtesy, they can do something where the final scene of the series, even like an after credit scene, Jackie Chan shows up and says, Daniel-san, I have new mission. And that's it.
Wow, that would be dumb.
It would be. It would be, but I feel like that's what's going to happen. They'll
honestly, you want to know the truth, Price? I hope they actually don't connect them at all.
I would never make the Jackie Chan one, honestly.
Well, I know it's going to come, but like I just hope that it's disconnected from it to where I can go, nope, this movie sucks, and I can.
They're not going to pass up on the opportunity. They're not going to pass up on the opportunity.
No.
I mean, maybe they will, but I'll be shocked that they're making like a movie with Daniel and they're not going to put any kind of little sign at the end.
Don't be surprised if at the end of this movie or at the end of this show, he ends up going off to China for some reason. And that sets up the series. Right. Yes. Because he'll end up meeting him over there and then something will happen. And So I wonder if it's going to be, we have no idea what this movie is going to be other than the kid is going to be Asian and he's going to be taught by both people or whatever. So anyway, Clobby, you were going to say something?
I was going to ask a question about this now. Season 6 to be split into 3 parts. Final season kicks off in July. And then the series finale set for 2015. When does... We don't get it until 2015 or just
2025.
Yeah.
Or any of it? Or it's going to split and then the second...
No, they'll split it up. We'll get like 5 episodes on July 18th. And then another 5 in November.
This year.
Yep.
Not sure I'm keen on that. I mean, it's
okay.
And then the last
2 tranches is bad enough.
Honestly,
I just wanted to be clear. If
they just showed this show like a regular fucking show, they wouldn't have to do that.
No.
Yeah,
right.
Let's
be real here. We know why they're doing it because it's the closest way they could try to get people to come in and hope that they could try and maintain subscribers.
Part of that is correct, Nick.
Yeah,
part of that is correct.
They want that because they know that a lot of the shows, good or bad, a lot of the shows they get talked about and then the conversation dies. They want to leave people talk in for episodes 1 through 10 for half a year. And then boom, here comes the last 5 episodes of season 6.
Man.
You're partially right, and I think you're right on that, Nick. The other half is we know that this is one of the shows that was affected by the strike.
Absolutely.
And we were lucky it even got picked up after the strike because Netflix was waffling so fucking bad, which is why I thought that was why they announced that movie. I didn't think that movie was a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that movie was just a placeholder in case Netflix fucked them. Yeah, it was basically a call out to Netflix saying, if you're not going to finish this, we will. And we'll finish it on the big screen. And we'll make all the money.
Maybe they actually wanted to do that as a FU to Netflix to begin with. But then what happened was, as they were already moving along and they talked to Jackie Chan and they started thinking about it, maybe they just said, hey, you know what? Let's just move forward with this no matter what.
That could be.
Which is a mistake.
The other thing is that Will Smith or his people come and they said they wanted another movie one way or another. They knew they weren't going to get nothing with Jaden, but this is the next best thing for them. And not only that, it crosses over the Cobra Kai universe with their fucking movies.
Why? With Jaden, they can remake the next Karate Kid.
Jaden's totally old and doesn't act, and I think he's completely lost his mind, hasn't he?
I don't know.
there was a joke in there. I think it flew over everybody's head.
I guess so.
Flew over mine. Didn't know that.
Yeah, mine too. Does he still act even though?
Okay. He was in the Karate Kid, and now I was saying
The next Karate Kid,
next Karate Kid.
Yeah,
come on, that was a deep cut. That is somebody.
It was a deep cut, but I thought you were just being, whatever. I guess I didn't catch it as a joke.
No, because anytime I don't even think he looks like Jaden anymore. It's like, isn't that like I don't know how to word it? Isn't it like a pronoun situation?
Yes, I think so.
He's named after his mother, so he's already confused.
So 5 episodes and way in 5 more, then way in the future 5 more.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if they just waited and started it in the fall season like a normal show and just showed it like a normal show.
Yeah.
Then by the time they get to next year is when they'd probably be able to finish it up. Because that's the other thing is I know that the strike did affect the show.
I'm sure it did. Yeah.
What's funny is that it affected it because the guy Horowitz was saying that he's already started writing the first half and then he had to go on strike. So it was already kind of a done deal. And then the other part too is when they came back to strike, Netflix was wavering on, maybe we'll do it. And then they pulled the trigger. Like
I thought it was before this. I thought it was before the strike. They said it was on, but then the strike happened, so that delayed it even more. Because that was the whole thing. Is Netflix could have done this sooner, and they could already had this fucker in the bag. That was my point.
Yeah, they could have. That's the thing. Is like they waited too long to basically tell them to start writing season 6. They wrote half of season 6. It was announced that it's going to be done. WGA goes on strike. Then a few weeks later, actors go on strike. Netflix doesn't pull anything, but they just say, well, we're just going to wait to see what's going to happen. And then when the writers finished on strike, that's when that whole team was like back at Netflix saying, so can we finish the series or are we not doing this? And they're just basically waiting for the actors to get their contract. And when they did, it's like, great, now you have to hit the ground running. And that's what they ended up doing. Because I remember they were one of the few shows that actually started doing a final pickups and stuff in December, and they didn't totally take Christmas off, and then they did a whole bunch of stuff in January and February, and then they stopped. And I think that's probably how they got their first 5 episodes done that are able to be released next month.
Well, the motto is strike first and strike hard.
Then fade away without a trace.
So they went and struck. They struck.
I mixed 2 things there. But Script, what did you think of the trailer?
Looks good.
I think that it was intentional that they kept it vague on purpose since it's the last season.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything really, the trailer, but it looks okay.
Yeah, I was going to say this is the worst trailer we've ever gotten, but at the same time, I'm glad they didn't give nothing away.
Yeah, they gave nothing away. And I think the best part of the trailer is the fact that you get 5 more episodes. Yes, it's delayed, but it tells us that they've got a plan. And I'm crossing my fingers, as cheesy as it is, that Hilary Swank makes a cameo in some capacity. Or maybe they'll probably bring everybody back. Because again, if it's going to be the series finale, they probably will bring back everybody they could from all those movies.
Did they show her? Did they show her?
No, they didn't show her. I'm pretty sure they're keeping her. If they're using her, they're keeping it as tight as a secret as they can because they want that holy crap moment, which almost worked last season when they brought in what's her name from Karate Kid 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, nobody really knew her or really had much reverence for her, but except for the diehard fans. And when that was released, it had a pretty good impact, even though it wasn't mind blowing. It didn't break the internet. And truth be told, nothing ever breaks the internet.
No, but what I liked about it is how they tied it back to how that's how he met his wife, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So anyhow, yeah, like I'm with you guys. I'm disappointed it wasn't really a great trailer or anything like that, because every trailer before this has been, I couldn't wait, right? Like this one, I mean, I've been already waiting long enough. I guess I can wait a few more months.
Yeah, but it's not really, it's a date announcement, isn't really a trailer, is it? So it's
teaser,
like a teaser.
Or whatever, yeah.
There will be more, I think.
Yeah.
I think there'll be something else. Yeah.
Price, didn't you or Brian have anything more to add to it?
I thought it looked pretty good, and I just don't like the idea of 3 parts.
Yeah.
It feels like I agree. It feels like they're stretching it, but sorry, I cut you off. I didn't mean to.
No, that's okay, mate. No, that's all I had to say, really. I think the 3-part thing is silly, but that's...
And I was just going to agree with you that it's kind of frustrating. I mean, I was looking at it and thinking to myself, these kids were already playing older than their ages when this thing started. And then another million years went by. and it's like we're still supposed to believe that they're in like 10th grade.
The only one that's really been affected by that has been the boy, the younger
Cholo Maridueña.
No. The Daniel's
Robbie?
son.
Robbie.
No, Daniel's son, the young
Oh,
kid.
Daniel's 14.
Yeah, because when he started the show, he was like a little kid.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we jump.
Now he's got a beard.
And he's like, hey, Dad.
I didn't even know who he was when I saw him. Like suddenly he was big.
Yeah,
and I
at
didn't
first
even
I was
know
like,
who
who's that? Oh shit, it's the kid.
Meet my wife and kids.
So they kept the same kid.
Yeah, it's the same kid, but they also found a way to jump the time frame too a little bit because to try and kind of fix it. Because the weird thing is if you go by the time frames, I think the first 2 seasons are all 1 year, right?
Yep. First 2 seasons are 1 year, and then
if I remember right,
2 seasons are technically 1 year.
Yeah.
So it's grade 10 for his first season, grade 11 for the second. So this would be their final year of high school.
Senior year, yeah.
Man, that's a real leap there.
Wow. The young boy would either be a freshman or a sophomore then, I suppose. So yeah.
But
see, that was the other weird thing was they gave him more stuff to do in the latter seasons, and I thought they just kind of phase him out because he was getting too old to kind of keep up with him. But
I kind of liked his parallel subplot.
I did.
The little kid that he bullied, and I'm like, I really liked that little kid. He made a great first impression, and then see him going down that dark path to the Cobra Kai stuff, you just were like, no, you're cool, dude. And then you see that it's Dan LaRusso's kid that kind of let him down there. That's
yeah.
Oh man, I mean that's some good storytelling.
Right yeah, it's some good storytelling. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully it will be good. But we are losing Brian, so I figure I'd give you a moment to plug your wares.
Not a great deal to plug. Just last Monday's show on A Boy and His Dog was a lot of fun.
Hey.
And Saturday night, Bourbon and Boarding, Brahma and I discussing hockey. Looks like the Dallas Stars are back in the playoffs. Not done yet, so join us for that Saturday night. Next Monday's show on my channel, It's Only Talk and Roll. We're going to be paying homage to one of my favorite periods of music in my life, the new wave of British heavy metal. And Nick will be joining me for some of that, I hope. Yeah. So we're talking about all those great bands in that exciting time. So anyway, enjoy the rest of the show, guys. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Thanks for being here.
See y'all. Take care.
Bye, man.
All right. Let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat. We got Infinite Wanderer who says Paul Bunyan isn't really a book character. He comes from Tall Tales, just one-upping your buddies around the campfire after a few beers. Personally, I'd like to see Paul.
Stephen Kellogg wrote it in like what, the 50s? So it's a book.
Now it is, but it was based on folklore or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah.
And then he goes on with a second part of this, and thank you again for the 15 overall here. Personally, I'd like to see Paul gets hired by government organization of kaiju hunters while he's exploring his heritage as the last Jotun, if I'm saying that right, of Viking myth, fighting Godzilla and exploring the legacy of Ragnarok. Now, if Paul Bunyan's public domain, right?
Technically. I mean, some of the stuff that Kellogg wrote are still protected by copyright, but the actual overall lore of him.
My point is Infinite Wanderer sounds like you got it pretty well worked out. Why don't you do something with this?
Shot? I mean, you can't use Godzilla, but you can use any other.
Yeah, other kaijus you make up on your own. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see why not. Go for it, brother.
Maybe he falls in love with Thumbelina.
There you go.
Forbidden love that can't happen.
Yeah. All right. So there's one more story I wanted to cover tonight before I let us go here. As I've been warning people, don't underestimate this Sony getting into the ring for Paramount. I know a good friend of ours like Culture Casino would like to say that regulations are going to get in the way of that, but I will sit there and say the argument is Sony's is only half the size of a company like Disney. So basically, they have tons and tons of arguments they could make in court if they even wanted to try and block this.
They do,
which I don't even understand why they would, but yeah.
I always felt
because they don't like the lack of competition. But the other part too is that Sony is connected with Columbia TriStar, which has decades, if not almost a century of established history within the industry that could actually throw a monkey wrench into this, depending on what type of court they're appealing to.
Right.
And if, again, as I said, after the Fox was purchased by Disney, the FTC and the courts for antitrust were really regretful of allowing that to go through.
The problem, though, you have now is, and this is where I see Sony can make an argument, is if they try to block this, then they're basically handing a monopoly over to Disney, because they're no longer letting anybody else be competitive with Disney, because Universal would pretty much be the only studio that doesn't have another mini major or major underneath them, right? You know, Columbia TriStar is technically 2 studios, but I've never considered them 2 different. They've always been pretty much the same.
Well, they were merged when Sony got them both.
Exactly.
Universal
so even before that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Universal is thrown in with Blumhouse right now. So Blumhouse is their mini major that they've got.
That's about all they got. So like my point is Disney's got
Sony's
a
also
ton.
got their Sony Classics,
Warner's got a ton.
Indie. Sony's got a lot of smaller things as well. They got their Sony Indies title.
Yeah, but you would probably consider those like. Here's my point though: is I don't see why they would stop them. Maybe not, but Skydance doesn't have the fucking money. That's the point.
No, Skydance doesn't have the money. The reason they would stop them is because then you're going literally from basically 5 studios to 3, or sorry, to 4. And that's what terrifies the courts right now, because they're like saying, yeah, it helps Sony become more competitive, but it doesn't actually create a competitive atmosphere. It actually limits it to the point where now it's every studio has a 25% stake in the majority of the content that's being created through the entertainment means, and not just on the creative side, but also on the distribution side. It doesn't mean that indies will ever not be a thing. The indies will actually broker deals of either self-distribution or contracts with any one of those 4 studios instead of the 5 studios to get their stuff out there. That's what's going to be worrisome, because then when you have 4 studios at the bidding table, they don't have to compete as much with the other 3 when compared to the first 5, which is still too small in my opinion.
Well, this is about to heat up and get interesting. So I was curious if any of y'all had any thoughts on this. Because honestly, as I said, Skydance doesn't really have the money. They're going to need twice as much as the company's worth. If they even wanted to buy them out.
I don't know. I think it's weird. I don't think Sony is serious about this, but I don't know. I can't explain why. I
think they are. But to go with what Script's saying, though, is I wonder if it'd be more of a problem on the television side of things. Because that's the other thing, is Sony has a lot of television. They own a lot of television properties. And they're like second, probably. Paramount's probably second to Warner Brothers, and Sony's probably right underneath them, in my imagination. I'm not 100% sure. It could be vice versa. But anyway, you're saying price.
They've been smart until now. They haven't made these kind of deals that don't look good, and I don't know if this is a good deal for them. I feel like I thought that they were just there kind of as to put pressure on Skydance.
Possibly. Yeah. I mean,
Sony?
Here's the question. Is Sony doing what Comcast was doing with Fox to Paramount? Just trying to up the price?
No, I think they really want it.
It seems very odd for Sony to want.
Yeah, I agree. It is odd.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, you're looking at it from the IP perspective. I'm looking at it by the fact that
I'm also looking at it from the catalog perspective, the television side of things.
I just said that, the IP. That's the IP.
Well, okay. I guess you could look at it that way.
Well, maybe it's intellectual property.
I was looking at the catalog as far as not just like things that they could exploit now and redo, but to actually have the catalog there. And Sony hasn't jumped into the streaming race yet. So Paramount Plus is actually doing better than a lot of the other ones. So that might be another thing they're eyeballing.
Oh, yeah. It's still on track to be profitable by 2027, I think, is their late date.
Mm-hmm. How many times do these mergers need to keep happening before someone just finally, like, I guess you could say, goes under? Because, like, we've seen a lot of this in the last 6-7 years. It's and like a studios, they're losing money, merge with another, merge with another, merge with another. We had the Warner Discovery, Warner AT&T. Now we got this thing with Paramount, Sony, Fox, and everyone being tied to Disney. It's just how much more can this keep going before something finally cracks and gives,
Well,
because
it's
it
the
feels like they're
studios being
trying
the
to
blob.
keep.
It's the studios being the blob, just absorbing any small thing around them. AT&T still has a massive stake in Warner Brothers with Discovery
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
So like,
which is
they're
why I
not
don't
even-
think they've made another offer, because I think they'd have a harder time than Sony getting it through the
Yes.
regulations.
I think they'd have a massively difficult time. They could probably buy a couple of things from Paramount and be okay, but they
Well, and
can't
that's where
buy
I think they were
Paramount.
talking about just looking at CBS as a possibility, but then
Yeah, but I think Warner Brothers also, didn't they get rid of their NBA contract?
well, I think they lost it, or I don't think they got rid of it.
Or they did something that seems kind of weird that they'd hand over, or at least not fight for another sports.
It could be just because
medium.
the NBA for shit no more. Their ratings have been crap too. I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I'm not a sports person. Culture of VR would probably know better than me on that, obviously. So,
yeah.
But you're not wrong. Yes, TBS and Turner, whatever networks had the NBA license for quite a while.
Oh yeah,
25 plus years. Yeah. But Zaslav, from what I had heard, was looking more for the live sports, and he wanted the CBS News department to help clean up CNN. That was what I was being told.
Yeah, because that's what I was hearing too, is that Warner Brothers still wants their own network in some regards. And if it is only a fraction of CBS, that's still more than what they've had before. And it's also not cable, it's proper network.
Yeah, and they've also already worked alongside a lot of them over the years with the whole.
Yeah, they've got a massive amount of co-productions, and that would clean up a lot of some of the distribution issues for some of their co-productions archive. So it's very. Here's the one thing, right, that we know for sure, because Shari's got that controlling interest and massive amount of voting stock. It's going to be her way or the highway, and I don't think she's going to get the offer she wants, and I don't think she's going to settle. And that's probably going to be the most detrimental thing to happen at Paramount, unless they get a miracle where the next 4 features cross $1 billion and everything on their streaming service starts raking in the dough, which I don't think is happening anytime soon.
See, and that's where I wonder if Sony's going to have as much trouble as everybody thinks they would, because is Paramount even considered a major studio even anymore in the reality of it all? Because they're even a junk bond now, for fuck's sake.
Well, I mean, their rating status has declined, but
that's what I mean.
Even their property, the fact that they're tied in with the natural amusements, which still has other parks around the area that they still technically own.
Well, I don't think that comes with the deal, though. I think they're just selling.
If it gets separated, that would make things easier.
I think that's the plan, but don't quote me on that. But because I think that they're just selling off the entertainment side of things and they're separating it from the amusement side, but I could be wrong. I'd have to look that up again. But because this is the thing is Skydance's offer got they redid their offer to where the shareholders got more than they were the first offer, because that was the thing, is it was all benefiting Sherry before,
right?
And that's where they rose a stink, and then they changed the offer a little bit, and I don't think she's going to take that offer. And I think this is almost, I don't know how much more. I don't remember how much was the last offer from Skydance. Let me look here.
I was like a 12 or 13.
I was going to say, I think this is almost like twice as much as what they were offering.
Well, the other part too is that even though Skydance doesn't have the money, they do have enough assets they could do a leverage buy, which means that they'd just be in massive amount of debt to acquire the whole thing.
Okay, well, here's the thing: is Skydance's last offer included merging its entertainment assets, Paramount raising $3 billion to buy out common shareholders at 30% premium.
So that's 30% above their share rate. So you have to do 30% above its highest share price,
and paying nearly $2 billion for Sherry Redstone's controlling stake. So
yeah, she's never going to take that.
That's a very low offer considering Sony's offering $26 billion. Yeah.
Well, if you do the math, it's probably.
And I would say that's even twice as what the company's worth, actually.
Yeah. Well, if you do the math, I think it probably comes out to around $12 to $14 billion at the end of the day, because you're paying 30% above every share, the thousands upon thousands of shares, plus the $2 billion additional on top of that for Shari and whatever else.
Oh, I get what you're saying now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's still a lot of money, but I think 26 billion probably covers that and then some.
And then some, because like I said, it's almost twice what the original offer was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Warner was talking just a merger, though. So that's the difference. This Sony and Apollo are offering to buy out. Same thing with, and it's just Paramount Global. See, it's not for the parks side of things. That's when I think they spun that off last year or whatever it was, or the year before, when they did the remerger thing.
When they did the remerger, that was almost 4 years ago.
Was it that long ago already?
Yeah.
Cripes.
I know. It feels so recent, but then again,
well,
things
everything goes
kind of
so
ground
fast.
to a halt during COVID. So
yeah. Well, we got a new member in the chat. I want to acknowledge that here real quick. We got Samuel Main, who's become a minimum effort puppy. That's Mikey's favorite video, so let's do it. Here's the minimum effort puppy just for you. Thank you so much. We appreciate that, Samuel. And then we also got Doug1985 sending in a $4.99. It says, just saw the thing about Chucky. I was about to throw my phone. What the fuck happened to this franchise? Well, it's always been a little queer bent, especially since Seed of Chucky, and that's because Don Mancini, the original creator, has been an openly gay man for years. So he's never hid that fact. And the first season handled it very well, in my opinion. Introduced some new characters that happened to be gay, and it didn't dominate the storyline. Second season, not so much. It got worse. I've not seen this third season at all, but after seeing that, I'm probably not even going to bother. It feels like Don has gone off the woke train with this queer shit. Yeah. So I feel your pain, brother. Jason Webster sends in 5 Australian, says all interested parties have to carefully consider if they are the best possible option for a merger or acquisition of Paramount. It can't be rushed. Yeah, no, this is not going to something that's going to happen overnight. But they're in, I would say, the final stages of deciding what's going to happen, I guess is the best way to put it. Wouldn't you guys say?
I mean, it's really the home stretch at this point.
Yeah.
Because there's no other offers from anyone else, and there's no other private institutions that are not entertainment based making an offer for it, which is also kind of suspect. But it might have to do with the fact that those people just don't want to get into the entertainment business right now. Even though I will say $26 billion acquisition of a studio is a pretty good deal.
Yeah, considering how much Fox was bought for. Yeah. Thank you for that, Jason. We appreciate that. And I see you guys are talking about, like, here, if Sony is looking to buy these IP to parlay them into PlayStation, it's guaranteed they will destroy whatever IP they buy, considering their insane DEI rules. Well, there is still some separation, to my knowledge, between the two, although they do synergize. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Sony's still pushing DEI stuff on their.
I don't know.
I know on their video game side of things, they're getting that through consoles, but I don't see it so much in their theatrical or television yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And Rothman, that's the thing. He's not going to sit there and exploit all the IPs, and that's why I say that. He wants that catalog, or he wants that. There's something he wants there, or they want there, that I can't put my finger on, because he's not one to go like, "Oh, I need those Transformers. Oh, I need," you know.
Well, is he the one actually making the decision for
I don't
that?
know. That's a good question.
Or is it above his head? Because I think it's above his head. Because I don't
might be.
Maybe the people in Japan think this is a good idea. Hello?
Yeah, well, I'm just wondering. I'm wondering that. Phil,
No, I didn't know if I was. You know how when the thing throws you out, I'm like, oh no, it threw me out, because I didn't expect any silence, especially from Script. Script, you usually have a very quick comeback.
We got Yellow Flash in the chat, and he says, "I know why Tom likes He-Man so much. It's the same reason why you like Godzilla '98 so much."
Oh.
And why you watch all that weeby shit.
Dude, God, man, I remember 11-year-old Nick seeing Godzilla '98 in theaters. I was so mad when
I walked out. That's one of the few movies I ever walked out of. Oh,
he's all in his weird iguana-like thing. I mean, I know technically he is a lizard, but
there's
still,
no Godzilla
the
in
fact
that movie.
They gave him the body of one. I was like, bro,
horrible.
Sean asked a good question here. Well, my understanding there is a separation between Sony America and Japan, and isn't part of the problem Sony America? Is that my understanding, or
they're
what's
not
the
getting
deal?
away with DEI. They're swapped one evil off for another. It's called Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So that program, whatever it changes its name to in the next 6 months, is not going to go down without a fight. So, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's
And we're caught up with super chats.
We are.
Yeah. Was there anything else you guys wanted to talk about? Was there any?
Well, if you want
topics
to
that I
speak about
missed?
Paramount and CBS, one of their
Sure.
head of television development said today that they're not doing pilot season anymore. They're actually doing a full year of considering for development of television shows for their networks and for their streaming services. The headline at Deadline kind of misrepresents, saying that it's not for them. Like, they're not going to produce shows, because the normal pilot season traditionally is the first quarter of the year. And it's been kind of slowly being phased out in favor of what studios are now doing, which is basically, how Pride Month becomes the entire year. Pilot season is now going to become the entire year. They'll take pilot developments and pitches all year, and they'll start putting them into production for basically tests and focus groups anytime now. They're not worried so much about the traditional fall schedule lineup anymore, because with the benefit of how streaming works, and also how things go online exclusively on some of their websites and whatnot afterwards, they just want to get content out there that people can watch when it's ready. And it's kind of changing the whole appointment television model that has been around for 70 odd years into basically an on-demand model, which goes into what Tom and I have been talking about for many years on this program and a few others, which is customers like convenience, but if the show is even better, then the convenience is then worth their while. If the show is garbage, then it's something they put on the background, you can't actually get a whole lot of traction on, and then it comes and goes and gets canceled. But now it's like, okay, from January to April, we're no longer going to be shooting a pilot, we're no longer going to be testing a pilot, and we're no longer going to be running focus groups on it. What we're going to be doing is, anytime we think there's a pilot that has potential, and whenever we get it, that's when we start going ahead with it. And I mean, it might open up some more opportunities, but at the same time, you also have to consider that the studios are finally downsizing their green lighting and full commitment to mini series output. So no longer 10 episodes or 13 episode series seasons being shot up front and then peppered out through either a weekly model or through a binge model like on Netflix. It's looking more like they're actually going to go through a full pilot system that's going to be annually, with only breaks happening during the winter holidays. So that's kind of an interesting take to see develop in Hollywood these days.
Interesting. Yeah, I think this is either part of that story or the story you're talking about right here. Yeah. Yeah, they talk about a lot of that here, and about Cheeks overseeing a lot of this. Especially
some
during
of the stuff that is part of the fall season is things that they greenlit before the pilot season even happened.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And down here it says kind of what you were saying here just before.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Not produce a single pilot, but rather continue to open up development room and pick up programming straight to series, as it did with George and Mindy. Pilots aren't dead, but pilot season is probably dead for us. Risenbach said, whoever that is.
She's head of CBS television.
Thank you. Noting that other broadcast networks have also evolved beyond traditional January to May pilot season.
Okay. Yep. Basically a full year right now. Like, the only red flag, of course, with her statement is that she's talked about going straight to series, which none of the other studios are currently bit gung-ho about these days right now. But then again, CBS is going to CBS. So, and the other part too is they are a little cocky because, as you mentioned earlier, Tom, they are still in the better shape of streaming services compared to some of the others. They're the first one where they've had multiple analysts take a look at their model and say that, yes, they'd be profitable between 2025 and 2027, which is what, like 8 years ahead of Disney.
Yeah.
And like a few years ahead of HBO Max and Peacock, respectively. So, I mean, if they're doing something right, which is actually impressive considering the fact that they've rebranded after CBS All Access, and then they have been merging some of their other smaller streaming platforms like the Showtime thing as well over there. So that's, I don't know how they're getting away with it. I really don't.
They had the deal with Walmart too that helped.
Yep. And then I guess also the initial formula of the fact that, yeah, within 24 hours after anything that's aired on network, you find it on find it on Paramount Plus if it's not a Paramount Plus exclusive.
That, and they're not afraid to actually put movies in theaters first.
Right.
Like, I don't think they've only had a few, and a lot of their exclusive Paramount Plus stuff has been shit like that Pet Sematary prequel, for instance.
Yeah.
Like, I think the biggest mistake they made was that I swear they did a SpongeBob movie. I've got to go look because I think they did. But it was during the strike, I think.
Dumb. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think it was no, it wasn't during the strike. I mean, the pandemic, I think, or something like that. It was right around the time the Beavis and Butthead movie came out. That's all I remember. Because that was when they were really spending a bunch of money on
Universe one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, when they were trying to revamp to Paramount Plus. So it was right around that time period. I can't remember if it was a live action one or just a, like a 90-minute elongated episode or what, but yeah. But
the other part too is also Paramount isn't doing like their feature films aren't going direct to Paramount Plus right away.
That's what I'm saying too. Yeah, they're actually setting up the theaters for the most
streaming
part.
Services first, which I think
or other services.
Yeah, which working out because I think Paramount might be the only one that is not having Paramount Plus technically buy the license to broadcast it on their own service. The way,
for instance, Beverly Hills Cop 4, they could have
done that themselves. Yeah,
but they had the deal with Netflix and they took that instead. And same thing with Coming to America 2, they did with Amazon, for instance.
Yep,
they could have also kept it for Paramount Plus if they really wanted to, I'm sure, and they didn't. So I give them credit for that. I mean, it eventually probably will end up back there at some point, probably after 5 years or something.
See, this is what I've been kind of suspecting, and I've been asking around to try and get verification, because we do know publicly that Disney Plus buys the rights of the Disney movies that they put on their streaming service. But I don't think that's the case when it comes to Paramount Plus, Max, or Peacock, because what I've been hearing with some of those deals is that those streaming services actually put in a financial package as part of the production in order to retain the rights and also get a piece of.
Didn't you say something about that with one of the Halloween movies or something like that a couple of years back when the second one or the third one came out?
I think, yeah, there was something going on.
Those like or Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, like they co-produce it, but they don't get the first streaming rights, and they do that specifically so that they can license it out and get that money. Part of that money goes to them, and then when the rights lapse, and they
went straight to Peacock, but
yeah, when the rights lapse from their licensing and it doesn't get renewed, it goes straight to Peacock, but Peacock doesn't actually have to make a transaction in order to broadcast it because they've already fronted it with part ownership of the actual IP. And I think that's where that's why those three streaming services are nowhere near in as much trouble as Disney Plus, because basically Disney Plus was doing a shell game with themselves.
Well, that and they're spending $300 million on each one of these Marvel shows. That's the other mistake.
Exactly. But like if you look at it from like say Max's side, if they're going to do, produce, let's say another Harry Potter film, they wouldn't stream it on Max right away, but Max would actually be co-financing it with Warner Brothers and all the other production companies, so that once it goes through its distribution windows and it ends up on Max doesn't actually have to pay anything for that because it's already defaulted in their initial contract when they produced it, say 2 or 3 years prior to its release. That is a far more efficient way of, retaining the streaming rights, because they're basically using it as the same model when HBO was doing stuff like The Sopranos and Game of Thrones. Like they financed it. They don't actually have to pay anything to stream it on HBO or HBO Max because it's part of that production property. So I think that's what they've been doing with all the other studios, which is why it's been so easy. Like with for instance, Star Trek Discovery, produced by Secret Hideout, but Paramount also pays a little bit of that. After all, Netflix fronted a whole bunch of the bill, but Netflix isn't showing the last season anymore. I think it's only on Paramount Plus, right? And Paramount Plus paid for part of that production, but they didn't have to relicense it out from the Netflix deal because that was already but it's paid for and done. So yeah, trying to figure out the movie math on this has been very, very confusing. But it looks like they found a loophole where they don't actually have to sell stuff back to themselves the way that Disney does. And I think that's probably why they're in better shape.
Interesting. All right. Well, thanks for that script. We got Jason Webster, who sends in an Australian 10. Transformers began as a co-production between Japan's Takara Tomy and Hasbro. The franchise began in 1984 with the Transformers toy line by Tomy. As of 2011, it has earned US dollars 25 billion. Yeah, not bad, not shabby.
Not bad for 17 years.
No.
Yeah.
So how much has it earned since 2011 to now?
Good question. Good question. So yeah, let's.
Given the fact that the toy market has shrunk anyways, is probably not as much, but should still be decent.
Yeah, that's true. But let's everybody start plugging your stuff and get us out of here. Script, what you got going on?
I'll be hanging out with Price in 90 minutes, I think, talking Quantum Leap.
Yeah, Quantum Leap. Great. Last week we had such a great show. I hope that tonight it'll also be a good one.
What's this week's episode?
It's the one where he's a Native American.
Yep.
Did he say hi? How are you?
He does say how.
Wow.
I mean,
it's got Frank. What's his name? Frank Salcido. Frank Salcido is in it. Character actor who plays pretty much every single old Native American.
Yeah.
And everything.
Is he still around though? I figure he's probably
he died like 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but for a while that was the guy.
He is the guy. Yeah, like you see him in everything. He was in Creepshow 2. He was like Ben Whitemoon. He was in Walker Texas Ranger a couple of times. Gosh, what else was he? He was in North Star. Remember that movie? No, nobody remembers North Star.
Vaguely.
Yeah.
I kind of remember the name.
All
right, cool.
Yeah.
So you will be there with Price tonight at 9 p.m. And Price, did you have anything else you wanted to plug besides that?
Yeah, after that, tonight at 11:45 p.m., there's the Night Owl with Dread Roberts, and that's happening on my live channel, Price of Reason Live. The Quantum Leap is also happening on Price of Reason Live. So if people aren't subscribed to Price of Reason Live, I'm not objective, but I recommend it.
All right, Nick, what you got going on?
Obviously, I'll be on TNT in 90 minutes. But outside of that, Comic Shop Talk tomorrow night. We'll be having the Saska sisters on to talk. Obviously, the Ira comic that they got coming up, and all things good about comics. Maybe get into their background a little bit, where they came from, and I'm closer to 2K subs, so let's get me there, folks. And of course, Toxic Tuesday Dodgeball. So maybe Chuck Norris will be making an appearance for it. We'll see. I hear Chuck might show up, so all the more reason to tune in live.
Awesome sauce. Klobby, what you got going on? You got a show tonight, don't you?
Yeah, in about an hour and a half. Got the Clubhouse with Raquel and Mark. Blake 7 episode review, Kolchak the Night Stopper episode review, and a Star Trek comic and other things. And tomorrow night, well, Nick already announced the Comic Shop Talk. And then Saturday night, Star Trek, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. And Sunday nights on my buddy Mark D with the C's channel for his Sunday Night Geekery. That 10 each.
Sounds good. Awesome sauce.
Thanks, man.
And with that, I will be Andre was supposed to be dropping a video soon. I don't know if he got it to process or not because YouTube's been a bitch. It doesn't look like
2 videos out today. Sweet.
If you can get it to process, really, I guess. Like Brian was saying before we started the show, he's having issues with the video processing. Andre is as well. So hopefully that drops before too long here. He's got his take on He-Man. But otherwise, I would like you guys to go check out the Lost Classics channel. See all kinds of great like this.
He can't ignore. His heart's on fire, but his soul is torn. She's got silver curls and a mysterious grin. He's in love with the
Check it out. Appreciate it. Yes. A bunch of Rush music coming as well. So check that out, guys. Throw the link one more time in the chat. Subscribe. Let's get it monetized.
Do it.
This is the one Brian said he really liked, so that's why I played it.
Sounds like from the early 2000s. So
well, it's actually more 90s, but or 80s. I mean, it's supposed to be, but yeah.
That's supposed to be 80s.
Yeah, like 80s hair metal. That's the band Rash. I don't know how to stop this. Okay. There we go. I can
There's
pause
a lot
it
of
at least.
verses to that.
There is. I'm good at that. See, that's what I'm saying. Actually, this is what I don't understand. Is because like the songs like I Shit My Pants, which isn't even that fucking funny, is getting like 500,000 fucking views. And I actually put work into these bitches. Like there's a thought process that goes into this. Like you don't come up with, the shit that I come up with just after a cup of coffee. It takes a little bit of thinking, like I played in the beginning, like this one here, it's a lot of work. So, but anyway,
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that one's muted for some reason, but yeah, check them out, guys. Appreciate it. There we go. I got it to go away now. Awesome. All right, so with that, see you on the next show. I'm sure it'll be sooner than later, Friday morning. If not, I'll pop up somewhere. I normally do. Take care of yourselves and each other.
Take care, bud. Good night,
Night.
everybody.
Where's my button?
I got molested in a little boy's room.